Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For those who might wonder, why is this man always talking to us? I say this to you. When you have multiple problems, you have got to find multiple solutions to it. And I also say to you that the only people who are so much bothered by solutions to problems are usually those who are creating the problem and those who delude themselves to think that they can benefit from the problems they are creating. I want to let you all know that those that create problems are usually delusional because they don't understand how the problems they create will end up catching up with them, catching up with generations after them. Okay, those who create problems are like those who go about making monsters. At the time you're making a monster, you think the monster will remain the same way you have made it. But I know a lot about monsters. Monsters are like evil. Evil has no specific terms of reference. The terms of reference of evil changes depending on what is driving it. Okay? So when you understand the very nature of evil, you don't go about creating it because it can come back to bite you where it hurts mostly. Okay, so for those who will be wondering, why is this man always troubling us? Yes, then if you are having that thought, I can assure you, you review yourself very well, you find that you must be one of the problems. And what we seek to do as a defender and as an advocate of humanity is to trash out all the various components that are affecting us and why we are malfunctioning. That's the mission here. Let me further tell you the reasons why I have to always come on air as soon as it grips me. It is because I understand the transient nature of this life. I also understand that we are all carriers of goods and we must display our goods. What I am displaying is the little goods that have been given to display. And I cannot deny you that, neither can I deny myself that. And I urge you to ensure that whatever you identify as your own goods in this marketplace called the world, that before you depart, before your departure, which is imminent as well as mine, you make sure you display it. I will never play a role in trying to do anything to stop you from displaying your product. Never. So, because I understand the transient nature of this life, I've got to say things the way I have to say it as quickly as I can because I don't have the departure date with me. I don't have it. And secondly, I believe that when you identify something that is wrong, the responsibility of every rational person is to ensure that you go down to the roots and find out the problems and don't skirt around the leaves and branches because that is not where it is happening. You got to get down to the roots of the problem if you are genuine about resolving it. That's the second reason. And I call on all those that are 50 and over to really consider this fact. You see, when you are 50 or over, trust me, you have lived at least half of your life here on earth. If there is anything you haven't eaten at 50, sorry, don't worry yourself about it. You don't need to worry yourself about it because you're likely not going to eat it. Okay? If you're 50 or over, please, I beg of you, why not just spend the remaining of your life thinking about how you can make the lives of the generation coming after you better? Not necessarily your own children, because when you make the life of other children better, you've automatically made your own children's life better. Because the greatest risk your children will face is not necessarily themselves, but it is the risk that will be posed by other children. So when you actually do things that will influence other children positively, you've actually impacted on your own children positively. We must get away from this me, my. Look out there, look out there. Wash the other hand so the other hand can wash you, and then both of you will become clean. Don't get fixated on what you might classify as your own, because we all belong to each other, irrespective of where we are coming from. So, just remembering what one of my sisters said, and my sister by name Tony Amaka, Chris Okore, I think she's joined us tonight. She said, and I can't forget it, that if the previous generations spared a thought for this generation, we wouldn't be in this mess we're in today. And that is why it is upon us. Forget about those who will complain. He's always on air. If you're complaining because you're hearing the truth, then you are the lie. Okay? It is only those who inhabit the darkness that get worried once you come in with the light, because they are about to be exposed. So they are troubled. When you are troubled, ask yourself, why am I troubled? That's what you have to ask yourself. You have got to not have any brains to know or to feel that this world is okay. No, it's not okay. You got to have some serious psychological crisis going on for you to assume that this world is okay. But if you believe it is not okay, then the onus is on you to give your own damn best. Forget about what others are doing, but give your own damn best. Refuse to subscribe to the ideology that if you cannot beat them, you join them. Forget that. Throw that in the bin. Remember that your journey here is transient, and you're going to depart very soon. Give account of yourself. Okay? So that is why, okay, I have to be on air as soon as it is possible. And so long as I have got the mechanisms to do what I have to do, I'll just give it my best and leave the rest. I am a defender of humanity. I don't believe in whatever people are thinking out there. I don't believe, and when I'm in this mode, please forget about your political correctness. Please forget about your religious, human-designed religious doctrines and dogma. Please forget about your capitalism business. Forget about everything, because I'm dealing with the absolute truth. And tonight, I just want to read out the caption I have for this particular video, because it is very critical. And I have to say categorically that if you are not party to this singular argument that makes sense to humanity, then you are part of the problem. Begin to feel sorry for yourself, because the rest of the world will start seeing that you are quite ill. You are ill. If you are outside, I'm not joking, if you're outside this singular argument that makes sense for humanity in this transient life, trust me, you are ill. Whether you want to now admit it or not, it's your problem. And it doesn't matter what situation, it doesn't matter what position you occupy, you are simply ill. I am telling you this, and I'm telling you factually. I read it out to you. It's the caption of tonight's video. And I read it, I have it right in front of me. I want to read it as I have written it. Now just hear it. The only argument that makes sense in this transient life is that humanity is one, but with different parts for differing and equally important purposes. Differing and important purposes that cannot be equated to superiority or inferiority, and have no basis for dominance to be relevant, let alone applicable. Differing and important purposes that call for collaboration, complement, and partnership, not challenge, competition, or popularity contests. Above all, differing and important purposes that only speak of respect for all and nothing else. For respect for all and nothing else. Because we are all unique. Because we are all different. Because no two persons have the same DNA, that means we are all carrying specific and unique attributes that calls for respect, nothing else. What that means is, no matter who you think you are, no matter, you are only part of the jigsaw puzzle. And if you ever think, because you're only different, you can't be everybody, and you can't be anything other than specific, unique individual. So whenever you now begin to feel you are inferior, or you are superior, or you begin to apply dominance to whatever it is, be it your religious belief, be it the political party you belong to, be it the tribe you come from, if you believe in tribe, be it the community you represent, be it the nation you represent. Once you think superior, once you think inferior, sorry, you are very ill. I am being absolutely categorical here. You are very, very sick. Now, if you can't feel sorry for yourself, I do feel sorry for you. And I call on the entire humanity to begin to feel sorry for you. Because upon this basis, and this is where all the delusional thinking, all the manipulations of this world come from. Now, let me finish what I was reading so you can make sense of where I am coming from. Now, remember, I made it clear that it is only one argument that makes sense in this transient life we are all living, okay? Only one argument, nothing else. And I've highlighted what that argument is, okay? That argument is quite simple. Now, any other argument other than the one I have spoken about is false, is delusional, is grandiose, is disrespectful, and responsible for the malfunction we have seen and continue to see in our world. Those who have different arguments other than the aforementioned, which may include the feeling of inferior or superior towards another, are responsible for the carnage in our world. This is the time to reevaluate with a view to righting the wrongs of the past for the posterity of humanity. So, what am I saying? It is quite very simple. That the only argument that makes sense is that humanity is one singular entity, but with differing and different parts. Differing and different parts that are equally important because they are all serving unique purposes. And I want to make it clear to all of you that our world is fully resourced. I have kept saying it. Our world is fully and well resourced. And our world is big enough to take twice the number of people occupying it currently, which stands at 7-point-something billion. So it is false when you hear some people or some nations telling you that the world is a small place. It can't fit in all of us. Or they tell you that the resources is not enough. I'm sorry, these are all delusional concepts. But if you feel strongly about these things you claim, that it is a small world, you can't fit us all, why not take your exit if you choose to? Nobody is forcing you to remain. After all, we have BRICS exit now. What stops you from just bowing out? And let others bow out naturally, because nobody brought anyone else here. And nobody asked to come here. Nobody asked to come here. Nobody, in fact, was aware of the womb or the nation he or she was going to emerge from. Nobody. So when you really review the things we are doing, you find that they are being done through what I call delusional perspectives. because people are not rational enough to think through what they are doing. They are actually acting based on what their limited eyesight can see. Okay, because I've told you about the physical, the eyesight, which is so limited.